everybody, Bryan McCloskey here, flat fee advisor, downingtown.com if you want to check it out. And today I have a very special guest with me, DiMatteo from the DiMatteo Insurance Agency. Al is an expert at a lot of different things in his business, but one of the things that he focuses on is really helping people find the right Medicare plan and understand this thing. And being that we're coming up on the open enrollment season here in 2022 when we're recording this, we actually did want to record a quick video about the top 5 mistakes to avoid when it comes to Medicare. Al, good morning.
Good morning, Brian. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for sharing a few minutes with us here. I'd like to help people understand retirement stuff in plain English. And you know, Medicare government program, it's not complicated, right? Not at all.
Right. Oh yeah, right.
But seriously, Al, let's get to it. Let's help people understand how they can avoid some of these mistakes that we see all the time. So the first question, not signing up for Medicare at the right time.
Absolutely. That's a big question. Yep. And that we hear this all the time. So for most people, the correct time to sign up for Medicare would be age 65. This is called your initial enrollment period. And during the initial enrollment period, it starts the month you turn 65, 3 months before that month, and 3 months after that month for most people. Now, if your birthday, there is an exception. If your birthday is on the first of the month, then, I don't know where this stuff comes from, but if your birthday is on the first of the month, it starts the month before your actual birthday. That's the middle month, and then the 3 months before and the 3 months after are considered enrollment. So if your birthday's on the first of the month, you get to sign up for Medicare a month before the rest of us do. So pretty cool.
Could be a good thing, right? Yeah, but 65 is a key window, and a couple months before and after, and you see mistakes when it comes to that.
Correct. Now, for a lot of people ask, we've had several calls even just this week alone, paranoid because they're worried about penalties here. So if you're over 65 and you're working for a company that's a large group, and by large group we mean it has at least 20 employees, you're allowed to keep working and stay on their health insurance plan as long as it's considered credible coverage, and you don't have to sign up for Medicare Parts A and B. So you're going to be in a different situation there. You can stay on that medical plan for as long as you work for that company, or if you decide even before that you want to get off and go to Medicare, you can. But once you retire, then you're done. Then you have what they call the special enrollment period. The special enrollment period works a little bit differently. So during the special enrollment period, once you retire, you have up to 8 months to sign up for Medicare Part B, and up to 2 months to sign up for the drug plan, Medicare Part D. Okay, and one big kicker here is I just want to throw in there. You have to watch because COBRA does not count. Okay, we get this question all the time. Some of the larger
COBRA, I like plain English. COBRA is that extension of coverage from your former employer that sometimes people elect, right?
Correct.
And that doesn't count as credible coverage, right?
Yes. So and there are employers now in the county, large employers that are offering COBRA coverage to these people that are 68, 69, 70 years old when they leave. And the reason people like it sometimes is because they get to keep all the benefits, including the dental and everything else. Right. So it's like, hey, yeah, I'll take that. The problem is Medicare does not recognize that as credible coverage. And if you do that, you are going to be penalized when you do sign up for Medicare. So bottom line is you can stay on that group health plan until you're 90 if you want. 95, whatever, that's fine. But as soon as you retire, as soon as you come off that large group plan, you have to immediately, go to Medicare and sign up.
That's an excellent detailed answer for making sure you're starting to understand these different timelines. And everybody's timeline is unique, although age 65 is definitely a trigger there. And yes, you could help them understand whether they do, if they're still working, whether they do need to elect Medicare at 65 or wait until they retire. And you've mentioned, this is the second item that we see, the second mistake. You've mentioned a couple times already, understanding some penalties. So that's an area where people make mistakes and then get dinged, right? So what are some of these penalties you were referencing?
Yeah, so basically what happens if you don't sign up for Part B in time and you don't qualify for that special election period that we had talked about, Medicare is going to penalize you 10% of the Part B premium for every year that you have not had Part B, that you didn't buy it in time. And as far as the drug plan goes, they will penalize you 1% per month of the average drug plan price. So these penalties could be pretty substantial, but also very avoidable. And we recommend to people most of the time, if you're not sure, just check with
Yeah.
Medicare or your agent when you're 65 to be sure. If you're just not sure, don't make the mistake. The biggest mistake people make is they work for a smaller company. You might work for a doctor's office and just assume I'm on their group health plan, I'm fine. Well, you're not. If there's less than 20 employees, unfortunately, it's like it doesn't work that way. Or a township, municipality. A lot of these places are just too small, and Medicare doesn't recognize that.
And I've noticed, and you can probably speak to this, I've noticed that some employers and their HR departments and benefits teams, sometimes they reach out to the employees when they're approaching 65, but they don't always do that. So
Correct.
One of the things I'm picking up from you is, again, as you're approaching age 65, even if you're planning on working, you just got to ask. Got to ask your agent. You have to ask your HR. Just got to ask to make sure you don't miss it, right?
Correct. And HR departments are all different, Brian. I mean, some of them are great and some of them not so great. So some of them understand this stuff really, really well, and some of them just unfortunately do not. So.
Got it. The third mistake to avoid is not understanding who IRMAA is. So Al, what's IRMAA? Who's
Right.
IRMAA? What's IRMAA?
Well, IRMAA is actually an income-related monthly adjustment amount, and there's nothing you could really do about this one, Brian, because this is based on your income. Okay, so if you have an income that Medicare considers is too high, it's not really a penalty. They call it an income adjustment. Okay, so basically what happens if you were single this year, that threshold was $91,000, and if you were married this year, filing jointly, that threshold was $182,000. So if you made more than $182,000 as a couple, unfortunately, you'll have to pay more than the $170.10, which is the Medicare Part B cost. And there are I think 5 different levels there where, if you make between 100 and, 82 and 230, it would be one level, and it goes up according to, how much you make. And it actually goes back 2 years because we're in the year 2023 now, or 2022 now. So your income tax return for 2021 was just done in 2022. So when 2023 comes, it's going to be that 2021 income that it's based on. Okay. A lot of people say, well, I retired. I'm not making any money anymore. I just have what I have. It's like, why do I get nailed? Well, yeah, but when you were working, back a couple years ago, or when you sold your business, or whatever you did, it's based on that year. So, and that gets adjusted every single year. You'll get a note from once you're signed up. You'll get a note from Medicare at the end of the year, and they'll tell you what the next year's cost is going to be for Medicare Part B premium and for any IRMAA adjustments that there may be.
Yeah, that letter usually comes out around November-ish and lets you know.
Yep.
And of course, if folks aren't aware of this and then things have changed, there is a way to appeal, and then the other piece that I think that one of the avoiding things is, from my side especially, is this is all related to taxable income, right? That adjusted gross income on the tax return. And it's really understanding what hits that and how that's going to change through the course of a person's retirement that can really help them either be okay with the IRMAA surcharge, right? Or figure out how to avoid it, and so they're not surprised, right? Because the mistake there, to your point, is it is what it is, and just you don't want to be surprised by it, right?
Exactly, but there are things you can do ahead of time, like with your financial planner. That's a really good point. So that's why people like you are very, very helpful when it comes to stuff like this, because there are some ways with a little bit of planning here that you can make sure you're always going to be in the lowest level possible for you.
Yeah, I've found, and you can speak to this. This is kind of like a bonus item. Not everybody realizes they have to pay for Medicare, right? And then secondly, not everybody realizes, even if they have to pay for Medicare, there could be surcharges on it, right?
Yep. Surcharges and penalties. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So Al, another problem, making the mistake of not buying a Medicare supplement when they enroll in Part B. Can you talk about that for a minute?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. So this again, common mistake. When you get your Medicare Part B, you have 6 months from that effective date to pick up a Medicare supplement, kind of no questions asked. Okay. The insurance company can't deny coverage. And you'll be eligible for the company's best rate. Even if you're a smoker, you're going to get non-smoker rates. Even if you're unhealthy, you're going to get preferred rates. That's the time to buy the product.
Health problems in the past aren't an issue in this.
Nothing matters for those 6 months. 6 months and 1 day later, it's a different story. Okay. Now, with most carriers, you're going to have to qualify medically. You're going to have to answer the health questions, and you're going to have to qualify medically. So a lot of times, the problem here is people are healthy. they get Medicare. They don't want to spend that extra $150 a month for Plan G. It's like, you know what, I'll get the supplement later on. Then all of a sudden, it's like, something comes up. It's like, hey, I'm going to go get Plan G now. Well, maybe you're going to get Plan G. So some things are not as big a deal as other things, Brian. Like if you have hypertension, high blood pressure, mild high blood pressure, that kind of stuff, cholesterol, insurance companies don't really care about that stuff. That's not that big a deal. But like COPD, heart issues. I mean, there are a lot of diabetes. I mean, there are a lot of problems that they're going to say no to. Okay, so
once you get outside that window.
Exactly. So you want to hit that window, and then there's just no questions, because none of us, it's impossible to time when you're going to get sick. None of us can do that. So
very reasonable perspective there. And what an incredible mistake to avoid. So again, it comes down to making sure you're talking to somebody right at the time that you should be enrolling in Medicare about the opportunity there to obtain coverage like that without any type of medical disqualification, right?
Agreed. Yep. Agreed. Yep.
Okay. Thank you. The fifth mistake that we have on the list here was choosing the correct Part D drug plan.
Yes, and this is like a little different for everybody. So with Medicare supplements, those products are standardized, which means that like if you buy Plan G or you buy Plan N, that's what it is with every insurance company everywhere, okay, in the U.S. So very simple to understand because there's no variance. The drug plans are completely different. They're all different. The deductibles are different. The copays are different. The drugs they cover are different. The pharmacies they use are different. Yeah. So the bottom line is here, you want to buy a drug plan based on the medicines that you take at this time. Because again, we can't guess what medicines we're going to take down the road. So we're trying to make it as cost effective as we can today. These drug plans run anywhere from like $5.30 a month all the way up to $150 a month. And it doesn't mean that the $150 a month plan is the best plan out there for you. Because most of the time, honestly, it's not. So, we find in most cases, if you're taking, and Medicare loves generic drugs, by the way, but if you're taking generic drugs and you're just taking a few generic drugs, a lot of time the really inexpensive plan comes in very, very good, okay, for you. So again, it depends on the medicines you're taking. If you're taking diabetes medicines, there are companies that do really well at that. If you're taking, just regular generics, there are companies that do well at that. The really nice thing about the drug plan, though, is you have open enrollment every year with that drug plan. So you can change drug plans every year. So open enrollment runs from October 15th to December 7th every year. During that period, you would shop your drug plan, pick a plan, tell Medicare that's the plan you want, and then the new plan starts January 1st. They're always calendar year, the drug plans. They run from January 1st to December 31st every year.
And that's
so you always have that option.
That's probably an area where people can make mistakes if they're not looking at that or if they're not doing their homework, I guess, right?
Correct. I tell people most of the time in October, you're going to get a letter from your drug company. Sometimes the end of September. The letters are already coming out this year. So sometimes the end of September, beginning of October, you're going to get a letter from your drug company. They're going to tell you what the premium's going to cost if you stay with them next year, what it would cost. They're going to tell you if there are any drug changes, okay, the copay changes or drugs they're not covering anymore. All that stuff comes out in the letter. And again, at that point, that's kind of like your red flag. Okay, I better shop this drug plan. I don't like it anymore. We've been getting a lot of calls. One of the drug plans happened to go up for 2023 from $20 to $60 a month. That is definitely a red flag. Okay, that's a monster increase, and it happens. I mean, it's happened over the years. And it doesn't mean that, I know I've had this conversation with somebody the other day. She panicked. She says that they all went up that much. I just can't believe, honestly, they did not all go up that much. Some of them actually came down for 2023. So, no, the world's not going to end. You're just going to need to change drug plans. Okay. So,
yeah. So in that case, the mistake would be ignoring the letter, ignoring the increase and just paying more next year.
Exactly, Brian, and that happens like all the time. I mean, all the time. We get a lot of calls in here, like in the month of January, people go to the pharmacy and all of a sudden it's like, hey, I had to pay $42 for this drug. I paid $1 a month for this drug last year. What happened? Well, you didn't change drug plans. You're definitely on the wrong drug plan. They changed it. And some of the companies are really good and they're very consistent year after year. They're very close to what they were the year before. Some of them not so much. And some of them leave. If companies don't make money in a certain area, they may just not be here. And you'll get a letter to that effect too. If they're leaving, they're pretty much going to tell you we're not going to be here January 1st. So again, red flag, that means you got to go get another drug plan. So
Got it. Oh, very helpful.
You do that several different ways. You can go to Medicare.gov and actually shop it yourself. Just get on there, look at Part D drug plans, put in your drugs, and do your own thing. Your broker could do that for you, or an insurance company. If you're dealing directly with an insurance company, they would. The only thing I'd like to suggest is that a lot of people ask us, like, why come to a broker? Okay, why would I have to pay a broker? In effect, you don't really pay the broker. The insurance company pays the broker. So I'm going to use I don't like to use insurance companies, names, but, Aetna, for instance, if you go to Aetna directly or you come to me directly, you pay exactly the same price for that Medicare supplement. Yeah, doesn't make a difference. It's the same exact price. So our point is, like, why not use a broker, get the advice, and get somebody that's, going to look at your drug plan as a whole. The problem is if you call like an insurance company directly, they're going to want you to have their drug plan because that's the only drug plan they represent. So they're going to sign you up for that drug plan, which might not necessarily be the best drug plan for you. Yeah. I mean, it could be. I mean, we don't know that until we actually run it through. So.
Terrific advice.
But you kind of get the broker for free. Yeah.
Terrific advice on avoiding mistakes and getting the specialized guidance that you offer. Al, we were going to share 5 mistakes, but here's a bonus one for everybody. As plain English as you can, because of the way this thing is set up, it can be confusing. What is the difference between original Medicare and Medicare Advantage?
Okay, get this question a lot. Okay,
that's why I wanted to add it.
So basically, everybody is probably familiar with Joe Namath and Jimmy J.J. Walker at this point because they do commercials for Medicare Advantage plans like every 10 minutes.
They do.
So let's just start with original Medicare. Original Medicare consists of 2 parts. There's Part A and Part B. Part A is the hospital part, and for most people, Part A is free. There is no charge. Part B would be considered the doctor part. That would consist of like office visits, diagnostic testing, blood work, durable medical supplies. That kind of stuff is covered under Medicare Part B. Part B costs $170.10 a month. Okay, now for 2023, that's actually going down to like $165. So it actually lowered a little bit for Medicare Part B. So that one Part B comes with a $233 mandatory deductible. So, and then what you would be buying, and Part A has like a $1,500 deductible for going into the hospital. So what you'd be buying is a supplement, which is kind of like an umbrella that goes over A and B and covers everything that A and B doesn't cover except that $233 mandatory deductible, which is also going down a little bit next year. I think it's going to be $226 for 2023. So you'd have that cost. So you have Medicare Part B, which is $170.10 a month. You have your Medicare Supplement for guys. It's about $150 a month. For gals, if you're 65, it runs about $130 a month. And then you would also have the cost of the Part D drug plan, which, the average drug plan, you're probably going to spend, $10, $13, somewhere in that range. So you're up to like, $330 a month for the whole package. Okay. But the nice thing about Medicare Advantage or Medicare Supplement plans and original Medicare, go to any doctor you want, anytime you want, any specialist you want, anywhere you want. You're on vacation, no worries. Just pull out your Medicare card. You're good to go. Medicare Advantage plans are kind of like a different beast altogether. Okay. That you're giving up your original Medicare Part A and B. And you still have to pay the Medicare Part B premium. By the way, you still have to pay that. Medicare is going to take that from you. But you're actually dealing with an insurance company directly now, okay? So that insurance company pretty much is going to control their product. So, and these things, again, where the supplements are very standardized, Medicare Advantage is not standardized. They're all different. The deductibles are different. The co-pays are different.
The doctors are different, right?
Exactly. They have networks of doctors, network of hospitals, areas where they won't cover anything at all. So you could be on vacation. That could be one of the areas that's excluded. There's just a lot of things that goes on there. At this time of the year, I guess the draw to the Advantage plans are the cost. A lot of times the cost is low. You can get them for maybe $66 a month instead of $150 a month or $130 a month. Some of them are even free. There's no charge. But again, you just have to really pay attention to what it is. Free
meaning no premium monthly.
No monthly premium, correct. But when it comes to we get calls all the time. I was just in the hospital for 7 days and I just got this bill for $6,500. So not much you could do about that. Those plans, that's the way they're written. So with Medicare Advantage plans during open enrollment every year, when you can change those drug plans, you can also change those Advantage plans. So if If you can't qualify, you can always come back to Medicare during open enrollment, Medicare Parts A and B. But if you don't qualify for that supplement and you don't want to come back, you can always look to upgrade that Medicare Advantage plan. I'm not a great fan of them because this is a really good example this week. We've got tons of calls this week already of people that want out of the Advantage plans. They want to come back to original Medicare. But the reason we're getting the calls is because these people have had issues.
Health issues, right.
Exactly. And once you have these health issues, honestly, even though Medicare says, well, you can come back. Well, yeah, you can come back to Parts A and B. But if you can't have the supplement, quite honestly, you probably don't want to come back, because there's just too big of a hole there of things that aren't going to be covered. So,
wow. And our bonus mistake here, what I'm picking up, and this is from experience and also from hearing your expertise kind of explain it, is that if you don't talk through the certainty versus uncertainty of these different plans and different ways to do it, and you don't have those conversations at the right, and then secondly, like you have the timing issue. If you're not doing it at the right time, especially during, I guess it's called guaranteed issue, during the first 6 months after you go on to Medicare, based on the supplement side, you really open yourself up to some costs that you could possibly avoid, is what I'm picking up.
Correct. Yep. And they could be big. Yeah.
And they could be big. Al, this has been incredible. We walked through 5 common mistakes that could cause people, and then 1 extra bonus. And this is incredible content that we're going to be sharing around. And for the folks that have watched, it's clear that now they know that you are someone they can go to and get answers about this stuff and guidance so they don't make these mistakes. So what's the best way that folks can find you?
Actually, nice and easy. Phone number here is 610-383-1114. And my email address is insurance, A as in Apple, P as in Paul, D as in David, @gmail.com.
That's right on the screen. I'm going to put it right on the screen, and it's on the screen right now as we're doing it. Make sure you reach out to Al, because he'll be able to guide you with all this stuff, especially when, at this point of the year, when we're recording this, is that open enrollment season when this stuff is front of mind.